This is Walk Talk Football, the show where we talk about everything that's on your mind. Today we're talking about Premier League champions, we're talking about champions from other leagues, we're talking about the Golden Boot winner or Golden Boot race, we're talking about who's the next to win the Ballon d'Or, and lots more, so let's walk.
This is Monsoon Talk Football.
All right, guys, so before we get into other things, we threw a question to you guys on Instagram this weekend about who the next natural replacement for Ballon d'Or is, you know, and we left it to you guys, and there was a lot of answers. We had a few Akinfinwas, which is awesome. I appreciate that. But seriously, let's talk about it a little bit before we get into some of the other stuff. Who is the next winner of the Ballon d'Or if you were to not have Messi or Ronaldo win the next one? Who would it be? Naturally, right now, I'm going for Mo Salah. I know there's an argument for Neymar, I know there's an argument for Harry Kane, but let's look at stats alone. We are not comparing them, their positions as players or anything like that. We're talking Ballon d'Or. So, Neymar, 28 goals, 16 assists across all competitions. And that's including 6 goals and 3 assists in the Champions League and 3 goals in the Cups, but 19 goals and 13 assists in the Ligue 1. Incredible, world class. Let's talk about Harry Kane. Before his injury, he was right on pace as well with Mo Salah in a lot of ways. 38 goals, 4 assists across all competitions. Mo Salah, 39 goals, 11 assists across all competitions. This guy is incredible. And he's close to winning and setting, not winning, but setting a lot of records. He's still in the Champions League, which is amazing. You wouldn't have expected that at the beginning of the year with Liverpool. Yes, they're always capable of making a deep run, haven't done so recently. But he's close to setting a bunch of records, right? Like he's already the top African goal scorer ever, I believe, in a season in the Premier League. He's close to setting the single goal record in the Premier League, which is the hardest league in the world, I think, to score goals. And he doesn't have to cheat. He's not like Harry Kane. Harry Kane's trying to steal goals to keep the pace. Literally trying to steal goals to keep the pace with Mo Salah. But look, it's hard to explain when you're comparing apples to oranges with all kinds of players. Neymar left Ligue 1 to kind of find his own thing, and he's done just that. He's been incredible. They just crushed Monaco 7-1 to win the title there. It's no knock on him. But what Mo Salah's doing right now is unheard of. And he's on pace to set records for Liverpool this year, for the Premier League. He's scoring in the Champions League. I think Liverpool, because of the way this new setup is, are now favorites to win the Champions League. And that to me is enough to say that if there was a difference, if you were to move Messi and Ronaldo out of it this year, I would put Mo Salah into that position. Do you guys think Neymar? If so, get down in the comments and argue that. We're not comparing them as players. We're talking about the Ballon d'Or. We're not talking about multiple seasons. We're talking about this season. So before you guys say it's a single season, well, that's what winning the Player of the Year award is. It's about single seasons. It's not about winning over 2, 3, 4 years. Yes, it is a popularity contest in a lot of ways, but honestly, that's what this is about. So let me know in the comments. Rank from best to worst. Firmino, Mane, Salah. Salah, Firmino, Mane. Yes, Firmino was the key guy. Well, this is hard. This season, I'm going Salah, Mane, Firmino. Before this season or before this year, I would have put Firmino high in one of the best players in the world, and he is incredible, and we're going to talk about him in a second. Can LFC win the Champions League title? What about Firmino? Can they win the Champions League title? Yes. What about Firmino? Look, here's some fun stats on him. He's got 15 goals, 7 assists in the league, which is great, but he's even better in the Champions League, 8 goals and 5 assists. And Firmino, and here's what makes him good, is he tracks back, he works really hard as a attacking player, he tracks back and helps the team defensively, which is something that Liverpool do very, very well. They press in all the right spaces, and that's why they've been successful so far this year. And guess what? Firmino has won more tackles in the Premier League this season than Mustafi at 62. One more than Mustafi, who's an actual defender. Firmino's won those tackles. So that just shows you what kind of player he is. And guys, also, before I forget, we're coming out with a documentary on Mo Salah that we're going to put onto our channel soon. We're out in Egypt filming that, so make sure you stay tuned for that soon. How would you make Man U this season? I think Man U have been great. But unfortunately, in the Premier League, and for a manager like Mourinho and a club like Manchester United, who've spent the money that they've spent, they're judged on their trophies. Yes, they're current Europa League champions, but this year, yes, if they were to finish off, I think they'd be, what was it, 76 points? 75 or 76 if they finish, or 86, 87? Somewhere around there. Would have won in the Premier League in other years, but it's all about this year. So I think it's a successful year, but they're ultimately going to be judged on the trophies that they win. So it's unfortunate. What do I think they need to do to get back to winning title-winning ways, not have a Man City in the league or win those games. They've got to take those 6 pointers off of all the big teams in the league, and you can't go and lose to a West Brom. Of course, you can say it doesn't really matter anymore, but they're still battling for second place with Liverpool, so you have to be able to win those games against the low teams and the high teams. I mean, it's that simple. 6 losses in a season isn't going to win you a title when you have a Man City in the league that's only lost twice. It's that simple. It's not about playing even better, because they've been actually very, very good this year. You got to talk about Benjamin Mendy's Twitter troll on Raheem Sterling. So funny. They put out their kind of gif or photo or whatever with the players celebrating the title. Benjamin Mendy took out Sterling's face, put his face into it. Really funny, clever stuff. Obviously, that's always considered a lot more funny when you're winning stuff as opposed to when you're not winning stuff and people get mad and say you're a distraction to the team. So Benjamin Mendy gets to be who he is because Manchester City is winning the league, and it makes it a lot easier to be fun and clever than when you're not winning the league. Which is what we've seen with Pogba. Pogba does his thing. People get mad that he has any sort of personality because it's in a year where they're not winning the Premier League trophy or the Champions League. Where do I rank Man City in the debate for greatest Premier League team of all time? I mean, they're up there. If they break 100 points, they have to be in the argument. Other teams have set other records. Chelsea have the current points record at, what was it, 90, 95? You have the United treble team in 99, which, okay, that's not about just about the league. It's about multiple trophies, but still an incredible team of the David Beckham era. Those guys were incredible, post-Cantona. And then you have the Invincibles, and the Invincibles win an entire season undefeated. And in the Premier League, that's very, very hard to do. Everybody was talking about City being able to do that this year, and it just took 1 or 2 moments, and it was over. Though they still won the league. So, Heath, take me back to last week. How was Sané not onside on that goal against Liverpool in the Champions League? If they allowed that goal, it could have been a totally different match. Yeah, here's how it works. So, the offside works that you need 2 players behind the ball. The goalkeeper means nothing in that situation. If the goalkeeper's out at the half line and you still had 1 player back, that field player assumes the role of the goalkeeper. Here's the caveat. Because that clearance came off of Karius into, what's his name? James Milner's leg. James Milner stuck his leg out like this. Natural reaction. Now the ref has to make a decision in real time, which we'll be able to see in VR another time. Was that action an actionable play on the ball? Did he make an actionable play on the ball? If that's the case, he should have been onside. That could have changed everything. The ref saw it as just a deflection, and therefore it's offside because of the deflection. So it's a complicated rule. In that situation, it's really, really hard because you're having, in real time, to pick the intent on a player. Next up, James Rodriguez versus his old team. How do you think he'll do? I mean, obviously against your old team, you're going to do the best that you can. You're going to prove that they sent you out on loan, the playing time you weren't getting wasn't your fault, that it was the manager's fault. So he's of course going to have what I think is probably one of his better performances in the season. Having said that, he's not a mystery to the team, and they'll probably be matching up against him in a certain way to make sure that they can kind of cut out anything that he's capable of doing. But during his time there, by the way, so he's on 6 goals, 11 assists this year across all competitions. The year before, he was on 8 goals, 6 assists. Then he was 7 goals, 8 assists. So he's right around that same level. But the difference is that he's got, I think, 5 of his goals and 10 of his assists under Jupp Heynckes, which means that he's clearly a system guy. He clearly needs a manager that believes in him. And that's in a very short window. Well, not super short, but a shorter window than playing a full season. But, you know, he had 8 goals, 6 assists, 22 games at Real Madrid. But I think he's going to perform well. I think he's going to be up for it. I mean, no matter who he's playing, you're in the Champions League semifinals. You have something to prove, and James is trying to get that deal done to go there full time, and he had a slow start at Bayern, and now it's his chance to show that he can do it for a full season or for the rest of the season under Jupp before the new manager comes in next season. Heath, you played a full season for Rostock. Does it get easier at the end of the season, or do the good teams get tired? Hamburg and Berensten dominated Schalke this weekend, and Origi and Divadi goal for Wolfsburg looked too easy. I mean, I think that was 2 weekends ago because Hamburg lost, I think, again this weekend. And Schalke beat Dortmund, so it doesn't get easier. It gets harder, especially for the small teams. You take the points when you get them, but when you're fighting relegation, every week is hard. When you're a team that has 1/100th of the budget of Bayern Munich, it's really hard. Of course, Schalke is playing for other things, and they have the ability to slip up. A lot of these teams have young players too, so even though they're, I guess, at a world-class level for young players, they're still capable of having an off day, and that's what separates the best players in the world from just good players in the world is that consistency to do it every week. You know, you had Eden Hazard say he's not at the level of Messi or Ronaldo because they do it every weekend, and that's not something he's capable of doing quite yet. Literally every single weekend they show up and they put up incredible performances. Wolves are coming back to the Premier League with City already wrapping up the league. Who are your relegation picks now? West Brom. I'm guessing Swansea's the only team in the relegation area that I think is in real danger. And I know that they're just 1 point from the teams above them, but I know that West Ham have 2 games in hand. Swansea are already on 34 games, so I think they're just in trouble. And who else is in the relegation zone? Brighton and Huddersfield are safe. Huddersfield got a good result this weekend. Who's still in the relegation zone? Southampton? Southampton, that's a team that I think are going to go down. They've had opportunities to stay up 2-0 against, it's still in the FA Cup, but up 2 goals against Chelsea. Of course it is Chelsea, but you know, you got to learn to close out games. And when you can't close out games like that, it's an indicator of what your team is made of, that they're not capable and they're not really a Premier League style team if you can't get those types of results. So roundabout answer, but I hope it makes sense to you. Do you agree that they should expand the World Cup to 27, 28 players? If they did, I would have gone to a World Cup. Why are they doing it now? Out of bitterness, I'm just pissed off and I'm going to say no, it should stay at 23 because I was in the final 30 and got cut when it was cutting it down to 23. So I disagree. Keep it at 23 forever because that's what I had to deal with. Who's your favorite to win Liga MX? I'm saying Toluca. 6 games on the bounce right now. You have the other big teams, Santos, Tigres, America, that are all high up in the table. But I'd like to see Toluca. It's a team that doesn't get spoken about a lot. They made the playoffs in 17, and I would like to see them go on and win a championship. I think it'd be really, really cool to see something different for once, even though there are some major teams that are going to make the playoffs and have deeper rosters and more expensive squads and better squads. What else do we have? Is LA Galaxy back, or is it just too early in the season? Too early in the season. You know, the cool thing about MLS is that you win 2-3 games and you're right back in it again, and it can change your whole season around. And I think that's really cool. So Galaxy have done that now, got the result. Zlatan scores his first goal. Congrats, man. Not his first goal, his third goal. In his first goal in his start against Chicago this weekend. Great little header. Once he gets into that box, man, it's crazy. You get into that space, you're not going to move him off when he's crashing the goal. He's too big. You can't move him. So good goal, but I think LA Galaxy are back. Especially, I think it's going to lift the level is having them against, or not LAFC, LA Galaxy. Having them have LAFC is going to only increase their pressure, which I think will bring out the best in them. What are your opinions on Zlatan saying there's a good chance for him staying at the World Cup, playing in the World Cup? It was a commercial. I think it would be good for the team. Zlatan's a guy, he's not a cancer to the team. He's a personality, yes, but I think he would only help that team, whether it's as a starter or off the bench. You want him on your squad to increase your chances of getting out of the group stages and going on a run. And Sweden doesn't have the quality to be like, Zlatan's not good enough. So I'd like to see him at the World Cup. Plus, it makes the World Cup more fun. Guys, it's time for my favorite part of the show. We're gonna get through this puddle real quick. All right, we made it through the puddle. As you can see, really awful day out here. Again, we keep saying that. It's supposed to be spring, but it's been like my umbrella broke on my way in because the wind was blowing so hard. We're literally walking by puddles. There's flash floods everywhere. But anyways, back to the subject. Time for our haters, my favorite part of the show. I know we didn't have them for a couple weeks. We wanted to let it build. I wanted to say a few outlandish things so that you guys would have something to hate on, which is what you guys seem to always do. Even though I do get a lot of love in the comments, there's always those haters. So let's address them. Heath looks like to see him Punk with that hat. LMAO. That's funny. We're gonna put, yeah, that's funny. I don't even have anything to say about that. That's funny. Heath, I thought Heath knew better than to compare Neymar with Salah just by their goals and blah, 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 blah. I'm not gonna read this whole thing. Look, somebody asked me, what about the Messi-Salah comparison? Those are 2 completely different players. In what world do you want to live in where you can only compare players that are the same? Ronaldo and Messi are completely different, yet we compare them every single day because you're talking about the top tier of players in the world, the best of the best, and perhaps the best ever. So Salah's having a year that's out of his mind, out of this world. I'm going to compare him to Neymar because Neymar was the talk. You got to leave Barcelona if you want to win the Ballon d'Or. Well, he left, and he's having a great year, but Mo Salah is having an even better year. So that's where the arguments come from. I'm not comparing them as players. I know that Neymar's a playmaker and is on the ball a lot. Salah's more effective, but I think Salah is closer to winning the Ballon d'Or than Neymar is right now. It's that simple. Man, get me heated. Heath and COPA90 in general are fucking stupid and generally know nothing shockingly little about football, especially considering that the whole channel is based around that. You're an idiot. You're just an idiot. Like, I would love for you to come into our show and have a debate with me any day of the week. Anytime you come to New York City, we'll talk about it, we'll sit down, and I will make you look dumb. I'm just kidding, I can't guarantee that. But I will tell you, we watch soccer all day long here. We're fans, we cover the game. If you don't like my opinions, that's great. But still, you're taking the time to comment about it, so that must mean you're coming here for something. So we appreciate you coming in, even if you don't share the same opinions as us at COPA90 or myself. We are actually out in the rain and it's getting crazy now. So we're gonna get to the end of this. YouTube comments, got a few here. Do you think NYCFC can win the MLS? I think they can, but I think they could before this year too. Sorry guys walking around the puddles, making the cameraman walk through the puddles as I walk around them. His shoes are soaked. Can Egypt get out of the World Cup group stages? Get your win against Russia, and yes you can. I think Egypt is so good. This is a rare time where I think a guy like Mo Salah, a single man, can have a huge impact on the national team level as well. Instead of it being a bunch of stars, I think he's that guy that can really take them to the next level. And finally, FC Dallas, known for being one of the best young youth systems in the league by judging how many homegrown talent they have in their squad, but their outcome has not been the best in recent years. Do you think they should stick to their youth or buy players internationally? Stick to the youth. The future is in the youth. If these young guys aren't playing, I'm not saying give them the chances, let them earn the chances, but clearly they produce a lot of quality players that play at a high level. But if you want to win trophies, you have to balance that with having experienced players. And I don't mean experienced players internationally, because those guys don't know how to manage an MLS season. They don't know how to manage the travel you have here. You have to have a well-balanced roster. So I think there's no perfect answer, but every team should be focusing on developing youth. And that means developing them in your academies. I'm not saying give them games in the first team, but give them games in USL. Let them work their way up. Let them train with the first team. When they actually prove themselves capable, then test them at that level. But I don't think FC Dallas should scrap that, and I don't think they will, because a lot of those players are multinational players and could go play on other national teams, they could go play in other clubs, and the whole world is watching these youth developments happening in the US right now because there's no solidarity payments still, that they could just take these guys for free. So there's always that risk. Anyways, guys, that's the end of the show. We've walked about a mile, some in the rain, some in the shade. Stop. You're gonna go through it. Oh man, I just saved you. Now we're even. Guys, that is it. Make sure you get down in the comments and let me know what you guys think. Comment, like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.